Peace, peace, everybody. How y'all doing? Peace, everybody. What's going on, everybody? Give y'all a minute to kind of hop on. How y'all doing on today? Pardon me, everybody. I'm trying to get myself together real quick. But how y'all doing? Everybody, where y'all from? Gonna drop where you from in the chat. We're gonna talk about some self-acceptance today. That's what we're gonna talk about today. So we got a lot to talk about. If you've been dealing with some perfection issues, procrastination issues, that's what we talking about today. All right, peace, everybody. I see you. I see everybody we got the Bronx. We got LA. All right, Norfolk, VA, New York, Canada. Y'all know I'm out here in good old Atlanta. So, let me see. So, yeah, y'all, we got some things to talk about. I'm going to kind of get some things off my chest a little bit pertaining to this topic. Now, I specifically, I don't know if it's showing in the title of this live, but I wanted to title it The Number 6. The number 6 and self-acceptance. So when we're looking at the number 6 and the connection that it has to self-acceptance, right? There's a very strong connection there. And you guys know that I do numerology and I'm also into astrology and things like that. But it's a very good means of being able to interpret energy. So when we're looking at the number 6, right? You got to understand numbers themselves are symbols, right? So when you're looking at the number 6, the way it looks, the shape of it, right? So it can be very nurturing. It can have to do with responsibility. It can also be connected to the mother. And we can look at that and just think of it as the curve up like a pregnant belly. Think of it in terms of that. So in that sense, we can realize that the 6 is nurturing. Okay, the 6 is caring. It's all about responsibility. Absolutely. The spiral too. Absolutely. Very good connection. So we're looking at creation. We're looking at creativity. So it's very strongly connected to 6. Now 6, people with a 6, absolutely the womb, right? So people with a 6 oftentimes deal with vision and acceptance. Now, when I say vision, it has to do with, for one, these people can oftentimes see what other people cannot. They can see the potential of a thing or of a person. So it's so easy for them to have extraordinary ideas, to have big ideas, but it can be very hard for them to go through with those ideas or to see those ideas through, because they also deal with being very disheartened. And this is because 6s are often very, very judgmental. And they're judgmental like that. Well, they judge, and ultimately, really, they judge themselves, which is why they judge and critique other people so much, because within themselves, they are judging and critiquing themselves very much. So when I say judging themselves, look at it like, so these people tend to have very high standards, right? They can put themselves up to these very, unattainable goals, and it can be very hard for them to reach them, but it's rooted in something that's very deep, that's purposely in that self-destructive behavior because of what you've been programmed through your trauma coming from your childhood and things of that nature. So when we're looking at 6 and we talking about vision, remember your 6th chakra is your third eye chakra. So this is showing you a connection to how you can tell when your own vision is, or your own energetic center, your own third eye center can be having some blockages. People often say too, people with who don't have an awakened pineal, who have a calcified pineal, those people are unable to see through the illusion. That's the important part, the illusion, because you can get caught up in the illusion of things because these are simply ideas. But you have to ask yourself, where did this idea come from? Where did this idea that I'm trying to uphold, where did I get that? Why do I have it? Should I still have this perception? Is it time for me to change? Because with an open third eye, you have the ability to see the multiverse. So you can see multiple realities. So the benefit of an awakened third eye is being able to see how you want to see and not allowing the outside world to dictate your vision, i.e., not allowing the outside world to validate you. If you can recall, on the very first Matrix, Neo said he was looking at everything and he said, I did so many of these things, and all, was it just not true? What does it all mean? And Trinity simply said, it simply means that the Matrix cannot tell you who you are. You do not seek validation on the outside. That's the awakeness. That's the power of awakening to your true power, is realizing you hold all the cards, and everything on the outside ultimately is a reflection of the inside. So when we're looking at something like perfection, right? When we're looking at something like perfection, or even procrastination, because procrastination has a connection to perfection, we have to understand that it's rooted in fear. This is rooted in fear. Now, you want to deal with this when you do your shadow work. When you do shadow work, right? Naturally doing shadow work, the process of shadow work fosters self-acceptance. It's like a byproduct. You cannot do shadow work without self-accept. It's like it's a package deal. It comes together. Self-acceptance and understanding. So in the understanding and the embracing of yourself, you get to the root of what's really causing you to respond or to react to your environment this way, of you feeling the need to have to be perfect. So shadow work is going to dive into your unconscious and bring that to the surface so that you can become aware, and now that you can bring that into the light and embrace that. So you have to embrace your imperfections, or what you quote unquote see as your imperfections. You get what I'm saying? Let me make sure. Hold on, I'm checking. Make sure we ain't got no comments or whatnot. I appreciate everybody for hopping up on the live. I appreciate y'all for hopping on. I appreciate it. So me see. I think I got a little lag. Y'all see me? We good? We good? Let me know. Can you hear me? I think I got a little lag for a second. Give me a thumbs up or drop yes in the chat and let me know that y'all can hear me good. Can y'all hear me? I lost y'all for a second. I'm good. Okay, I got a thumbs up. I'm good. Okay. All right. We good. Okay, we good. So when we're looking at something like self-acceptance, you got to accept yourself if you're trying to do shadow work, because that's you coming to terms with you not being that idealized version that you are trying to only see yourself as. You're not able to really, you have to accept that you have these flaws. You have flaws too, because as long as you aren't able to accept about yourself, then it's always going to be projected out to somebody else. It's always going to be felt by that other party because it's something that you don't want to see. If you don't want to see it, then your partner got to see it. That's how it works when you're dealing with a relationship. So if it will always make that person feel like they're not enough for you, that they can't ever be enough for you, because you could be projecting out of you feeling like you are not enough, because that's what it's rooted in, feeling like you're not enough. A lot of people talk about that, bro. I don't agree with why people say that. Like, it ain't about telling you why they doing what they doing. It doesn't really matter. If you really want me to be 100% honest with you, if you really study the occult, it don't really matter. It's no karmic rule. I don't know where people get that from. That I don't really know. But if you ask me, it's just symbolism, bro. It's just a communication. Like, it's not really about them having to tell you what they doing. It's not really about that, because it don't really matter. If you really want me to be honest with you, it don't really matter. It don't really matter about them telling you, about them or they, telling you about what it is that they gonna do. It don't matter, because people already have their perceptions about it anyway. And most of their perceptions about a lot of this knowledge is already propaganda. So it don't really make, a lot of what people say about these things don't really make sense to me, bro. Because I don't really view it like that. Because it's just all energy. You feel me? Like, in terms of, if we're looking at how the world is just run by people who understand energy, by people who understand what energy is. See, if tomorrow, if I decided, right, I won't gonna do this no more, and I just started to create art, and I just blew up off of like whatever I did, whether it was some music or whether it was like some books or movies or something in of an entertainment artistic type of form, they would literally say the same thing about me, because it's the symbols and all, like, it's just all energy, bro. It's just really all propaganda and manipulation to keep people stuck in fear. All this shit is just about keeping people stuck in fear, because it's all in how far you are willing to go into that knowledge. That's why I'm always talking about shadow work, is because honestly, I'm just trying to ease people into understanding the dark side of energy, because it's literally just energy. Like, it's a polar opposite. You get what I'm saying? Like, a lot of this is a very different type of conversation, man. You know what I'm saying? And that's why I don't really speak on things the way a lot of other people speak on it, because I don't agree. I don't really agree, bro. I think if you look at all this knowledge and see it for what it is, it's really all empowering shit. But it's all in where you getting your information from. It's all in who want to tell you what's what. So it's depending on how far you willing to go into that knowledge. That's all I can really say, is how far you willing to go into this knowledge, man. Because if you get to studying what they call satanic shit, it's nothing but ancient feminine is nothing but ancient matriarchal feminine energy systems. It's really just based on the divine feminine. You realize they really just created this split and told you this was good and this was bad, all out of a means of political control. And you understand they didn't create the devil until 600 BC. So when you look at things like that, it shatters all that shit. That's why I realize everything ain't for everybody, because a lot of people have their identities rooted in these ideas, and the minute you take away them ideas, you take away their identity. So I gotta tell people, yo, you gotta study, man, because it's really all they're doing is playing with you on some propaganda. They've been giving you propaganda of all this shit being like, you just gotta study, man. Like, if I'm really being honest, like, you really just gotta study occult shit. Like, you gotta study, like, they'll tell you that this means this, but it's like, yo, have you ever actually studied anything pertaining to demons? Have you ever studied anything actually pertaining to the origin of what these things come from? And if people never study that, how the fuck can they tell you what it is? You get what I'm saying? They're speaking to you from a perspective that approach this from an oppositional view. So quite naturally, it's going to be seen that way, because all that stuff is based on ancient pre-dynastic. You can go back to the Typhonian period. Go back to when the ancient Egyptians was worshiping Typhon. They don't talk about that though. They just want to talk about Heru or Horus and Osiris. Don't nobody want to get to the real shit. They don't want to go back to before you had the black and white split, you had the masculine and feminine split. So you got to understand why they split and wanted to praise patriarchy over matriarchy. That's the whole beginning of the light over the dark. So people got to go back to that. You gotta go back to that, because I'm never going to be that person that's gonna tell that, because I'm too real for that. I'm too real. I can't undo what I know, yo. I'm not gonna lie to make people comfortable with the information. You get what I'm saying? Because it ain't no comfortable information. It's hard to tell people that, well, you know, when you talking about Satan is just the great mother, like, do you know that's what that is? You know, when you talking about like the mark of the beast, and when you talking about all this, like, you talking about your kundalini, like, do you understand where all that come from? But if people don't know, you just gonna sound like, you know. And so I'm at the point with my ego, bro, it's like I don't even really want to have to correct or even have those type of arguments, because it just feel pointless. You feel what I'm saying? So a lot of those things, bro, I don't be agreeing. And that's why I be like, I can't ever really say that, because they would look at me the exact same way. Like, all them same symbolisms, like, I understand what all that means, but it's not. But we so programmed and conditioned to go alone. We don't realize that it's still propaganda, yo. Like, you still gotta go back. All these things it's still levels of comfort that people are not really ready to explore. It's still levels of depth. So a lot of this dark stuff, people don't really want that for real. They like the drama feel of the conspiracy, because if you got to understand manipulation, you got to understand mind control, you got to understand like the dark arts. If I can get everybody to agree that something is bad, I could control you. Or if I can get everybody to agree that this right here is a coming enemy, I can control you. All these are means of control. So that's why my utmost thing that I push is, yo, learn how to think for yourself. Yo, do the work for yourself, because things are not what they seem. And truth is stranger than fiction. So you gotta leave that for people to walk that path themselves. But nah, bro, I don't think it's they have to I don't think it's that, because the public is so programmed to see this shit as evil. In all honesty, they want you to see it so you can think it's bad, so you can give it energy, just so they can eat off of you, just so they can harvest your energy. That's really what it's about, just harvesting your energy off of the fear. That's really all it is, because they worshiping you. They're worshiping you in secret. In secret, all this shit is symbolically like the original black God and the original black woman, the black mother. So if they secretly worshiping you, what is the fucking secret? Cause really, the shit is you. It's you. You was being worshipped. You want to say, okay, so it's like, okay, we look at a Baphomet. It's a fucking symbol. We scared of a symbol. Those things just mean something. It just come from a separate place in time. They literally got that. Listen, I get passionate when I get to talk about this. That's why I be kind of avoiding this type of conversation a lot of times. But you just gotta do the study. You can't take my word for it. It's just something you have to be willing to go into the darkness and study yourself. That's why they say the truest light is in the darkness, because you begin to see what this shit really is and the games that's really played. It's all a mind game. This shit is all a mind trick. It's all to control your mind, yo. It's really all to control your mind, I promise. Because ultimately, all them symbols is just your black ass. That is really just you. That's all the symbols gonna equate to. In the simplest version of it, it come right back to you. They just don't want you to know that. So if you fearing it, they can harvest your energy, because you power this shit. You like the generator. Your soul, your energy, your electric body. They're harvesting your consciousness. So as long as we're not at the level where we can really truly spiritually evolve, they keep harvesting. That's what it's all about. They keep you in a loop. Just to keep you going in a hell's loop, you know? Where do we recommend we study out for ourselves? Honestly, you have to study the things that they tell you not to study. So there's levels to it, like y'all see, and like I'm saying, right? So there are some people that'll tell you can't do yoga, or you shouldn't meditate, or you shouldn't do mantras, or you shouldn't. The reason that they say all of these things is because it's dealing with your inner world. You just think about darkness. Just for a second, get out of the programming of what's considered to be dark, and just think about dark. Just look, when you close your eyes, right? When you close your eyes, ain't nothing but darkness. But when you use your visualization and you create images, there's a light that creates those pictures inside your mind. So that light in your darkness, inside of you, it's about it being inside of you. Remember on the shit, the Infinity movie with Mark Wahlberg, the kid, they kept coming back. It was their job to come back. And every time they came back, they had to remember who and what they was. And the boy came, the last time he died, he wrote, "Look inside." He had hidden something inside himself. Like, they're always trying to tell us this shit. And we look at this and we be like, y'all gotta understand, man, like, it's not the way that we really just program to really want to see it. It's really deeper than that. I promise it's really deeper than that. But you gotta study all the things that they tell you not to study, but they purposely put things in a way to make you feel a way. Take, for example, why does everybody know who the fuck Aleister Crowley is? Ask yourself, why does everybody know who he is, specifically him? Because he is an archetype for everything that you're supposed to repel against as a Christian, or as in a Christian mindset. And if you really think about it, he built his whole identity based on it. But they utilize his imagery as propaganda to everything that is supposed to be seen as bad and magic and all of this shit. Now, if you studied into this type of stuff, you know, it's a lot of people you can study that's probably way better to learn from anyway than Crowley. But ask yourself, why does everybody know who he is specifically? It's because he specifically polarized himself as the opposite of Christianity, yo. It's propaganda. That shit is like horror movies. It's everything. This shit been going on for the longest time, and it's wild because all you gotta do is look. Once you peep the game, you get it. This shit go back to the doctrine of discovery. They trying to walk that back now. You got the Vatican trying to walk back the doctrine of discovery. That shit was basis and grounds for them to kill and destroy any and everybody who wasn't a Christian or who wouldn't accept the Christian way. And then they turned around and made that movie, The Priest Exorcist, and then wanted to say, oh, it's because of the devil for why we was doing that shit. That shit is a mind play, and it's a mind fuck. If you really want me to be honest, because the deeper you study this shit, you realize that it is pointless anyway. So if we know religion is pointless, y'all, why do we hold on to the duality aspect of it instead of evolving past that? That's what I don't understand. We sit here and we'll say we know religion some bullshit, but we base all our shit still on the foundational principles of it. I don't understand it. Either we do or we don't. Either we do or we don't. Which one is it? Because I feel like the terminology and the way that we use these words and we say this shit is what keep doing this shit to us anyway. So we want to use these words, you want to call these peoples the devil, and then you want to wonder why you terrified as fuck of the damn people. Like, we got to understand the role we playing, because you are the battery. You don't have to accept none of these ideals. You feel what I'm saying? That's the whole point. Unlearn the fucking ideals. Unlearn the ideals. Hell, you can read the little satanic book, and this shit gonna lay out to you anyway what it really is, and it'll show you. Damn, most people that believe in the devil are Christians, bro. They are Christians, bro. Christians believe in the devil, bro. It's not other people oh, bro. I'm like, I don't know, man. Like, this really be getting me kind of going. You know what I'm saying? It really be kind of getting me kind of going, because, and that's probably because of me and my upbringing and everything that I went through in my upbringing. Like, that's what really led me along this path. It was like religion. Religion was really it for me. Like, that really put shackles on my whole spirit. And when I realized that it shackled my spirit and had me living in fear, I got away from it, and I have not looked back. And I can't look back. You know, I cannot look back. I can't go back. That's just me. So, you know, and we don't that's why we go to school, yo. Like, everything is indoctrination. It's so you can accept the programming, man. Like, you gotta get with the program. Think about this shit. Look at the words we use, man. Look at our terminology. Look at these things that we say, man. You gotta get with the program. Like, look at the words, man. Like, when you go get a job, you gotta go to the human resources department. Like, all of this is not a coincidence. And until you really want to do the work and really see what make this shit go, when you just gonna be subjective to just whatever is in play. You feel me? You just gonna be subjective to everything as it is. But we gotta escape that, man, because that's the illusion, yo. Because as long as you don't realize your true self, right? As long as you don't know that, you dealing with illusion, man. That go back to what I was saying about your third eye. That go back to like your acceptance and everything. Like, that's why there's cognitive dissonance. Like, that they brain break. You can't tell somebody that everything that they believe in is a lie. You can't tell them that. They said on the Matrix, hey, he told Neo, he said, I apologize. We don't normally do this. Because once people reach a certain age, their mind can't really take the truth. You know, they can't handle it. So once a person their whole world is built on certain specific ideologies, you can't take it away from them. Like, that will destroy them. That will destroy their whole world. So some people got to live in the illusion, and you have to let them. You have to let them. Some people, you got to let them. It just is what it is. It really just is what it is, man. Even when you go to college, you know what I'm saying? Even when you go to school, it's a program you got to get into. Let me get into this program. You're shown you're told and given the methods of course of action that you are supposed to take, that you can basically just be incorporated into society so you can become a cog in the wheel. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not against we got to do what we got to do to survive. That's why I'm always hollering about balance. You feel me? That's why I'm always talking about balance. But you got to be able to see the truth now. You got to see the truth for what it is. You got to see through the illusion, because this shit is nothing but illusion. Everything is based on certain success and certain achievements, and when you don't adhere to these achievements, when you don't adhere to these types of successes, people can feel like they don't have worth. That affects you on a spiritual level. That shit affects you because you living out that self-fulfilling prophecy of what you believe about yourself. See, I know we big on what you know, but I'm gonna tell you, if you're gonna believe anything, believe in yourself. You have to believe in yourself, because that's the only thing that you gotta know that's really real. If you don't know nothing else, you gotta know that. You have to know that. But a lot of this start with you gotta have patience with yourself though, because you have to self-reflect. You gotta reflect on your thoughts, your actions, your decisions, your behaviors. You gotta look at situations where certain or specific feelings arise in you. You have to be that type of aware of yourself. You gotta be that aware in your body, because your body is a feedback system. It's telling you shit. So you can't be so afraid to feel, man. So many people so afraid to feel. Like, y'all can't be afraid to feel, man. Yep, they custodians, Leslie. They custodians, brother. They custodians. That's absolutely right, man. I tell people that all the time, man. Y'all always want to talk about these people, man. What they doing? No, it don't matter what they doing. They gotta do whatever based off you. You supposed to know who you are in the whole thing, man. You gotta know who you are in this whole thing. I'm telling you, because it go back to you. They just had to hold on to the knowledge for you. That's all. They just had to hold on to it. That's why you get. That's why still, in a sense, that's why you gotta. That's why a big part of your journey, you gotta work through race. You gotta heal yourself on race relations, because you gotta be able to decipher through the knowledge. Because you can't discriminate on the damn knowledge. Because see, if you ain't did the healing, you might not be able to recognize when the only means of energy. See, spirit, your spirit, that shit really gotta talk to you, man. It really gotta talk to you, man. But you gotta be able to discern through it. What's up? Go tell Maya. What? Well, you gonna have to wait. Okay. Hey, we clone ourselves. We clone ourselves. Like, that's how we got here. See, that's what I'm saying. We gotta know we make the whole thing go. That was my son. I know his hair long. He 5, sire. Yeah. Okay, you gonna have to wait though. You gonna have to wait. Okay. Or either give it to daddy one. Okay, well, you gonna wait then. I don't know why he want me. I gotta do it. But man, like it's like you gotta accept yourself as you are, yo. Like you gotta accept yourself as you are. How many kids I got? 4. We got a house full over here. 4. 4. But it's in their best interest for you to second guess yourself, for you to not know the power that you have, so you can continue to turn it over. That's what, because remember, like I said last night, y'all, this is a vampiric realm. This is a vampiric realm. That's why they like for us to be feeling like, what is it that they're doing and all of this, and that fear, because it make you good food. It make you good food. It make you food. They eating off of you. That's why they love to show you these same things over and over and over again. These ritualistic practices keep showing you every few months the same thing come back. It be recycled news all over again. And the bad thing is we live in a time where there's 24-hour cycle news, yo. Do y'all realize how much information is coming at us all the time? Like, things happened 2 months ago that 10 years ago, if it would have happened, it would have been news for weeks. And we done forgot it. It would have been news for a long time, and we done forgot it because we constantly 24-hour news cycle. 24 hours. Like, all the time is new information. Yo, no wonder everybody got fucking ADHD and nobody can pay attention for longer than 3 fucking minutes. It's like we constantly just getting fed just distraction. That's not a coincidence. Because if you stop and be like, wait a minute now, and you start to pay attention to yourself and not all this outside glamour, because it's a million things for you to play with outside yourself. It's a million things for you to do. You don't even have to sit in silence no more. We used to not have cell phones. TVs used to turn off. Motherfuckers used to have to spend some amount of time alone. Not no more. We have our phones in our hands, man. All the time. Some of us go to sleep with our phone in our hand. We wake right up, put our phone in our hand. We had a TV on 24/7. We constantly being stimulated. All the time. Why do you think that is? What is the ultimate distraction? Yourself. It's yourself. If you in a prison and you don't, the best thing to do, if you have people in a prison, is for them to not know they're in a prison. Nobody knows they're in the prison. Because it's so easy for you not to realize it. Because we've all bought into the fucking illusion. Then that's when you get all the success shit. Every time you turn around, it's a fucking success, this entrepreneur, that. Man, I'm tired of all these damn podcasts. I'm tired of all this shit. I'm tired of all of it. It's annoying. It's getting on my nerves. The shit's annoying. Everybody ain't no damn entrepreneur, man. Like, it's so easy, yo, to just go with a flow that's not fucking you. It's too easy. It's too easy. And we wonder why the world the way it is, yo. We wonder why we fucked up. Yo, that's why, man. That's why. There's total disconnection with self. Complete disconnection with self. Everybody is just caught up in the illusion. This fake ass illusion. And this black excellence shit be killing. Yo, we do the worst to ourselves. Because it's bullshit, yo. It's an illusion. Because how you talking to me about all this black excellence, and it's based on European standards? That's crazy to me. That's insane to me. It makes no sense to me. That's a fucking gimmick to me. Because, I mean, come on now. But it requires people to be able to see. It requires you to see. You gotta be able to just look through the illusion. And everybody can't do it. Everybody's not doing it. Everybody can't do it. That goes back to that third eye. We don't accept ourselves. It goes all the way back. And everybody, what we realize, when you really do this work, everybody played a role in your shit. Everybody played a role in your shit. Your parents, your teachers, your friends, your siblings. It ain't just they. You realize, well, fuck. They ain't who the fuck I need to be worrying about right now. You gotta deal with your inner world first. You know what I'm saying? You gotta deal with your inner world first. Because all this shit go back to childhood experiences, upbringing. Because what happens if we looking at something like a perfection? Well, okay, well, maybe that child was in an environment where they were receiving conditional love or praise. You know, maybe that parent wasn't, emotionally intelligent enough to realize that that child was receiving that as conditional love or praise, feeling like they were only valued if they were able to accomplish certain things or achieve certain things, giving them the belief that their self-worth is tied to being perfect or achieving certain standards that's been set on them by parents and caregivers. But what's really fucked up is you're not really taught how to cope with the world though. Because see, you just go to school and you just taught how to take in programming. You're not really taught emotional intelligence. You're not really taught how to really take on the world. Financial literacy. You're not really taught the proper things, how to deal with stress. You're not really taught how to really fully prosper in the world. No, you just really taught how to be a cog in the wheel. You just taught to be a cog in the wheel. That's how you're taught. That's the conditioning. That's the programming. We gotta understand where school come from. Who brought up school? Who created the school system? The Rockefeller, John D. Rockefeller. Who created the curriculums? Who is benefiting off of these curriculums? See, we don't ask the right questions. We don't question shit. Cause we not taught to question. We're not taught to critically think. We're not taught to analyze. We're just told what to fucking think. That's all. We just told what to think. That's it. That's it. Then you got societal and cultural pressures. You living in a society, like I said, that only value certain things. Well, you got to have this type of car to be successful. You got to have this type of money. You got to be doing these type of things right here. That's why everybody feel the need to put out to show this illusion on the internet. That's why you got so many people so damn depressed looking at the internet. Because everybody looking at the internet, judging their journey, judging their path based off the next individual. You don't know if they lying, bro. That could be a lie. Most of this shit on the internet is a lie. Most of it is illusion. And the bad thing about it is most of our youth is looking up to these damn celebrities, these entertainers. Looking up to these entertainers, not realizing that these entertainers are paid to portray a fucking illusion. They literally give them an illusion. Literally. Their whole lifestyle and everything is given to them. It's the illusion of making them look that lifestyle. It is appealing to you. It is enticing to you. It seduces you. Why? Because we are seduced by the illusion, yo. That's the world we live in. We living in the illusion. We caught up in the illusion. So you comparing your damn journey looking at somebody's Instagram. Bro, anybody can go make their life look a certain way on the internet. Anybody can lie and portray a particular image on the internet. And you got so many people put their life at risk to get attention from the internet. People sacrifice their freedom to get attention on the internet. Cause you don't accept why you gotta tell. You need validation from other people, outside sources. Cause you don't know how to validate yourself. So but you get people clout chasing. Most people need to get off the internet. Just get off the internet for a little while. Just get off social media. Just get off of there. Just figure out who you are without this shit. See who you are without this shit. How you doing, Crystal? Like, see who you are without this damn internet, man. Without this social media. Then you got, the fear of failure. That fear of rejection. That's disheartening. But understand that you dealing with a defense mechanism. See, because we got to understand the ego. We got to understand how the ego works. Right? We got to understand, like, how this shit all goes back to fear. Which is why I say fear and love can't operate from the same space. Because if your ego running shit is fear. Every time, there's no doubt about it, it's gonna be fear. Every time. Every time. If it's the ego, it's fear. It's rooted in fear. So that fear of failure, you know what I'm saying? That's a defense mechanism from the ego. Because the ego don't want to be seen as flawed. Or not meeting certain expectations. Because then you might reject me. Then you might not love me. Then you might not want me. So you striving to maintain this image of some shit that don't even exist. Because you desiring approval. Because why? The ego seeks validation and approval from external sources. That's why. So you fear the criticism, not being able to meet those particular standards. But you got to learn how to accept them imperfections. You got to embrace that shit. You got to go look in the mirror and you got to just, hey, you know what? Hey, man, you just got to be real with yourself, man. Acknowledge them flaws and understand flaws and mistakes are normal. They're natural. I guarantee you to improve your relationship because it's going to improve your relationship with yourself. You're not going to keep talking down to yourself no more. That's why you talk down to yourself. You talk down to yourself because you got these fucking, because of you letting the ego run this shit. You beat yourself up. That's why you ain't got, how are you going to even, that's why you fatigue all the time. That's why you tired, you exhausted because you been beating yourself up all damn day in your mind. All day in your mind, you beating yourself up about this one thing that you didn't do, that you forgot to do. Everybody gonna make mistakes, man. You gonna make mistakes. I promise you gonna make them. Everybody that feet touch this earth has made some mistakes. I promise. And they have some flaws about them. You gonna have to get over that. You gotta cultivate some self-compassion for yourself. You gotta understand that you are imperfectly perfect. You're imperfectly perfect already. But you done allowed this world to break you down. But you gotta stop beating yourself up. You need better inner dialogue. You need to be more compassionate. Stop being so damn nice to everybody else, but you hateful to yourself. That shit don't add up. That ain't correct math. That's not correct math. You gotta do better with yourself. Because the minute you stop treating yourself like that, you can have better relationships with other people. Because I promise you projecting it out onto them. Stop projecting that shit onto other people, man. Your unworthiness, you making them feel like they ain't enough for you. Stop doing that to the people that love you. And be very hesitant about people who don't want to show you that they make no mistakes. Because I know you hiding your shadow then. I don't know who the hell you really might be. I like to deal with real people. I like to deal with people who real with themselves. Hey, I know sometimes I mess up. I know I got my issues. But you got to get to the root of them underlying fears, man. Whether that's fear of failure, whether that's fear of rejection, whether, you feeling the inadequacy, whatever those fears may be. Because when you can recognize them, when you can call them out, that's like exercising a demon. If you want me to keep it a buck with you, that's how you exercise a demon. By calling that shit out. You got to call them fears out for what they are. That's why you got to go into that darkness and why that truth lies in that dark. Because that's the only way you're going to really see yourself. That's how you get to, fulfilling your true purpose. You're truly living your purpose. How you going to live your purpose and you can't even embrace who you are? That ain't gonna work. That ain't gonna work. People say, how I live my purpose? Rule number 1, start living authentic. Start living authentic. Stop hiding who you are. Stop hiding who you are. You hiding from yourself. Go face yourself. Period. We too damn grown for this. Go face yourself. We got at this point, this where we at. Sometimes that's all that left. That's all that's left to say. Go do the work. Because if we can dance around it all day, your ego is so good, man. Your ego is so good that it will give you so many reasons for why you should not be doing what you know you're supposed to do. That's gonna get you where you're supposed to go. That's how good your ego is. That's how good it is. That's your greatest adversary that you ever gonna face on this planet. Because don't nobody know your ass like you. So somewhere in yourself, you gotta find the courage to go against that shit. Somewhere in yourself. That's just the truth of the matter. So you feeling stuck, you feeling like you don't know how to push through, sometimes you just gotta go inside. And you just gotta be honest with yourself. And you just gotta be uncomfortable for just a few minutes. It's only a few minutes. It's only a few minutes. But the problem is, see, we feel that rejection that we felt when we was 8 years old, and we don't know how to handle it. We don't know how to handle it. If you got kids, you see how your kids act when they have them big emotional reactions and they can't handle their feelings. That's all that's happening. They just little people with big feelings, and they can't handle their feelings. So we go and we do the same shit. We do the exact same thing. We be big grown 20, 30, 40, and we still doing the same thing we did when we was 8 years old. The same thing. We falling back into the same pattern until we ready to do different. Like, you gotta defeat that self-limiting belief. You gotta overcome it. You have to. There's no other way. Only you can save you. Nobody's coming to save you from you. Nobody's gonna save you from you. Let go of that need to be approved by, have other people approval, and accept yourself. That's it. That's it. I know I had to deal with this shit myself, because I had to ask myself, even in terms of right now, it is so many times I tried to make myself more relatable. Man, I can't do that no more. I can't do that no more. Either you with it or you're not. It just is what it is. It is what it is. Even down to if you online as a I felt this as a content creator. You know, when they be like, you gotta pick a niche. You gotta bring yourself down. To me, you trying to tell me to conform my energy. I don't like that. I just want to be myself. But sometimes you gotta be okay with knowing that whatever path is for you, maybe a path that's unpaved, and it might take you a little bit longer to walk that path. I feel that. Program and heal the trauma so you have space to download a new one. I absolutely feel that. Now, y'all, a lot of this I address in the book, the new book, Set Your Soul on Fire. The physical copy is ready. It's actually already available. You can buy it on Amazon, but I'm waiting for my copies. But you can buy it on Amazon if you want to go ahead and get the paperback or the hardback. But if you want to get it from me, send me a DM and I'll sign it for you when I send it. So I got the book and it's ready and it's available. And it's all about shadow work. That's all the book is about. It's shadow work in terms of where it comes from, the concepts of it, the methods of it, how you can go about it, different things you can do, different things you need to understand. Because it's no one way to do shadow work. Everybody different. Some people darker than others. Some people, some people like to do a lot of ritualistic practices in terms of with their shadow. Some people, and if you have an imagination, if you very good at visualization, man, a lot of visualizing type of exercises will do wonders. Will do wonders in terms of shadow work, because you got to think about that's all you're doing. You're just trying to alter your mind. You're just trying to alter your state of mind. You're just trying to incorporate a new way of being. But like I say, you got to understand you do have to delete. You gotta delete some programs so you can get that programming that you really want. That's why people say success, when they say success is a formula, it's a process, because what that means is there's an energy that's related to what's quote unquote seen as success. There's steps to take that's solidified through a spiritual system in obtaining success, or what you see as successful. Now, success ain't always in terms of a physical. There's spiritual success too now. You know what I'm saying? Some people, we got spiritual goals. We trying to astral travel. You know what I'm saying? We trying to go do stuff in the dream world. Some people got spiritual goals. Every goal isn't always about something physical all the time. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you got to stop holding yourself back. Sincerely, Sheena, it's time. It's time. Fasting is absolutely shadow work. Fasting is good for the third eye. Since we was talking about the third eye, fasting is good for the third eye. I know somebody up here said something about weed. You know, weed is supposed to be good for the third eye, but weed is like food at this point in time that is so contaminated. It's hard to kind of tell. So anything that's homegrown is always gonna be your best route. But in ayahuasca, things like that is pertaining to the third eye chakra. But fasting is absolutely shadow work because you abstaining from some physical urges and desires, even if it's through food. So you could do detoxing and teach yourself self-discipline. You can learn self-discipline through detoxing. You could learn self-discipline through abstinence. You can learn self-discipline through, any sense when you are not allowing a urge or an urge or whatever or something like that to, so when you fasting, the hunger, Jesus fasted for 40 days, 40 nights or something like that or whatever. It's a very spiritual practice. It's absolutely, and not only that, it's good for your body. You know what I'm saying? If you detoxing itself is good for your body because there's so many things that they put in our food. So and the higher you go up your chakra ladder, you might feel very compelled to change your diet. The more higher spiritual that you get, the less food you want to eat. Like you got some people, man, who don't really like doing a lot of eating that does do a lot of meditating. You got some people who really eat, their fruits and vegetables, or a raw diet is literally all they actually crave because they operate more out of their spiritual self than their physical self. You see what I'm saying? People who do that, they're operating more from their spiritual more so than their physical. You see what I'm saying? That's the symbolism behind Jesus riding into Bethlehem on the donkey. That's why Jesus rode the donkey. The donkey was symbolic to the lower nature. It was symbolic to conquering the beasts, conquering the animal nature, whether that be food. See, your animal nature got to do with anything in survival, what we do to eat, what we do to live, sex, reproduction. So when you can refrain from these type of things, you can establish self-discipline. That's how you can establish self-discipline. Yep, 7 vices, 7 virtues. Oh, they cut the lie when I said something about weed. But yeah, detoxing absolutely is because you teaching yourself to refrain. So you operating from your higher self versus more of your lower self. And it's different levels to it. Just like if you're talking about sex, you're refraining or abstaining from it physically because you're trying. Honestly, the goal of it is to make a higher connection or to establish a higher spiritual, what I'm saying, before you deal in the physical. So yeah, you absolutely. And now during this time of year, some people, so you got to follow me being a spiritual person, like a spiritual person. I might just do something because I feel the need. Like I might just, I don't know. I might just start fasting. Let me fast for a few days. I'm kind of like that. So I don't necessarily need it to be a certain time of the year, a certain moon phase, or anything like that. If I feel like I need to do it, I'm gonna do it. So that is your own spirituality. That's how you live through the magic of your own spirituality. You know what I'm saying? Doing what you feel your spirit feels you to do. That's you communicating with your higher self. It's no different than you taking a different route from work than you would normally take because you just felt like you should take a different way. And maybe after you took that way and you get home, you might look and it might have been an accident. It's like, oh, I would have been caught up in that, stuck in traffic. Or hell, you could have been the person involved in the accident. So feng shui is cool because you're dealing with energy. So it's about understanding how energy moves through spaces, right? So if you want to keep a clear energy path, it's the same thing as like when things get messy, when you start to develop messes, it can be reflective of your mindset. It can be reflective of you having to make a lot of decisions and you're not really feeling comfortable, or you're not making decisions, or you're not ready to make decisions, being indecisive. So those things can gather in your mind because these decisions are building up and they're not going away. We just push this shit in the back of our mind. So you knowing you need to make decisions about things, but you're not making decisions. So in the same sense, in your space, things can start to accumulate because that energy is stagnant. You're not allowing that energy to run through. Same thing with feng shui. Same thing with feng shui. And we're looking at different aspects of the room and spaces and structures. It's all energy. It's all energy. It's all energy. Feng shui is pretty cool. And so, like I say, it really depends on different people. So, some people, um, like they might be very have a lot of dreams. So if you're a person that dream a lot, you might need to get into dream interpretation, because your dreams are your inner self speaking to you. So that might be trying to tell you what is to forecome, or what's to come, or what you need to be on the lookout for, or what's happening within you, things like that. So all of that is something you want to look at, something you want to think about, all the way down to your music. We know hertz, certain hertz, particular hertz has certain effects on us. So hey, you could go get the certain hertz vibrational frequency, listen to them when you go to sleep. It's so many different things that you can do to kind of to move that energy. So many things you can do. So yeah, so anybody wanna I'm gonna briefly do some birthdays. If anybody wanna drop a birthday, we can do some birthdays a little bit. So do a little numerology. 9/10/1995. Okay, so that's 10. That's 20, 29 plus 5. Oh, you're 34/7, Leslie. So, all right, so 34/7, you got trust issues. So when I say trust issues, um, like you dealt with betrayal in your past before, because you had to learn how to trust your own inner instinct. You're really a seeker. You really a seeker, meaning you seek out information. You're not it's nothing for you to seek out information, but at the same time, sometimes you could find yourself trying to validate what you feel or what you believe to maybe be true from your inside, and you might need to validate it so that you can be sure. But in reality, you're supposed to allow your instincts to be your validation, because if you look at the number 7, you got 7 chakras, 7 days of the week. 7 is 7 virtues. It's seven is a very powerful number in terms of a spiritual system. It represents spiritual systems. So the 7 teaches that the temple dwells within, God is within. So a lot of things have been teaching you to recognize the the God within you, your God nature. So naturally you self-reflect a lot. So you can be self-reflecting a lot. You're very sensitive. You have a gift in your expression. So the things you say to people, you got to be very, very mindful of how you speak and what you say, because there's power in what you say to people. You can really lift them up and inspire them, or you could tear them down. You could bring them down, depending on the state that you in yourself. You also got to respect process, and you have to be patient, or you have learned patience. You might find yourself constantly going back and forth between your physical needs and your spiritual needs, because you feel yourself bouncing you could be establishing that stability, and at the same time, you really want to climb your Jacob's ladder because you have this mystical, or this spiritual thing about you, you know what I'm saying, as far as 34/7. But you can be an angel, man, but at the same time, you could really be the opposite too, depending on how somebody do you. So if somebody betray you, you can be the real lesson is you probably already saw it coming, but you didn't want to see it coming, because again, 7 can be connected to illusion too. So in that sense, you have to know how to see through the illusion, and your tool to see through your illusion is your instincts. So that's in that sense. Y'all dropped a lot of birthdays. Hold on. I'm gonna have to start doing these quicker. I have to start doing these a little quicker. Okay, July 17th, 87. Peace to the 87 baby. I'm an 87 baby too. Alright, so we got 7, 1 is 8, and 7, that's 15. 1 and 9 is 10, so 25 and 8. Let me see, 37. So you are 404. Okay, so when we're looking at a 404, right? So the interesting thing about a 404 is you dealing with stability and process, but you got inner gifts. So most 0 people have these inner gifts. They can be different things. You might be very empathic. You might can feel people. You might can and this is for the birthday July 17th, 1987. You might can feel things that people are going through, even when they try and hide it, even when they don't want people to know, especially if it's somebody that you got a connection with. You know what I'm saying? But you really want secure foundation. Everything is about foundation for you. Foundation, being secure. But it's a process. You know what I'm saying? You're learning about process, about respecting the process, the steps that it take to get to a goal. You know what I'm saying? And at the same time, with you having that inner gift, your gift is something that you have to use in service to people, or on behalf of people. You know what I'm saying? It's like, and because you just have a 404, it's like it's not diluted by other numbers. You know what I'm saying? So you very, very stubborn. You can be very stubborn. It can be really hard for you to adapt and to change. You could even have trouble feeling grounded. You could want to skip steps. That's why you got to learn how to respect the process, because you can't skip no steps, because the minute you skip steps, because you can feel like you're not moving fast enough, or things ain't happening fast enough, so you want to skip steps. And the minute you start to skip them steps, that's when things start to fall apart, because it's about repetition. Like, you got to learn how to let things be established, or learning to establish things over time. You know what I'm saying? Over time. You're very analytical too. You got a very good sense of analyzing things. You can be very strong too. Very persistent. You can be very, very persistent. So you got to learn how to, whatever you doing, you got to know how to stay behind it. You know what I'm saying? You got to know how to stay behind it. And you got to trust your gut too. You also got to learn how to trust your gut. You know what I'm saying? You got to learn how to trust your gut too. When you put the birthday, put the full birthday. I need month, date, and year. 3/12/90, 3, 4, and 2 is 6. 6 and 10 is 16 plus 9. So you're a 25/7. 25/7. You could be kind of paranoid. You can cause you also deal with, huh? Oh, my bad, y'all. I thought he called me. But you also dealing with trust issues. Now, see, y'all 7 people got to realize, like, trust, go back to openness. Okay? Trust is about, like, it's with a 25/7, 7s are very private. You like to keep stuff to yourself, right? Openness and independence is a lesson for you. You're learning to trust the spirit that's operating through you. Okay, that's the best way for me to say 7. Learning to trust the spirit operating through you. So you trusting yourself and others right? Right? You can trust, by trusting yourself, you're able to trust others because you trust what you yourself know to be true. So if something you tell you they probably lying, then trust yourself that they lying until they show you otherwise. You know what I'm saying? But if you allow you wanting them, or if you haven't dealt with, your own inner issues, you can neglect that and just see what it is that you want to see. You know what I'm saying? And then that's how y'all can end up in relationships with people that you trust, the people that you shouldn't trust, man. And then you end up dealing with situations and you get betrayed, and then you really wonder why, and then they want to isolate and be to themselves. And it's like, because, man, you gotta trust yourself. You knew that person won't shit, but you didn't want to accept that person won't shit. So you gotta trust yourself. It's just point blank period. You just gotta trust yourself. And so with it also being a 5 is all about freedom, but freedom requires discipline. You know what I'm saying? Freedom requires discipline. So a lot of y'all 25/7s can get paranoid, like I said, and it can lead y'all sometimes to just want to avoid intimate relationships too. And that's because too, y'all have that 2, and that 2 goes back to cooperation and balance. So with that cooperation and balance, you can't lose yourself in a person, because the 2, 5, and the 7 creates this internal conflict that it really makes you have to go through an extensive amount of healing. You know what I'm saying? It's not a physical level. It's like it's an internal thing. It's really more internal. But you got to deal with a lot of internal conflicts. Whenever you seeing a 2 people with a 2 have strong internal conflicts. Okay, 2, 9, 1986. So 2 and 9 is 11. Plus 1 and 9, that's 21. 21 and 8 is 29. 29 and 6 is 35. Okay, Crystal. So Crystal, that's why you the entrepreneur, because I'm gonna tell you, you absolutely doing the right thing, because a 35/8 is a self-made. That's the boss. That's the self-made energy. 35/8, because that's the gift and the expression, but it's also like the freedom, but you're dealing with the power and the abundance, because 8 ultimately is power and abundance. And a lot of times power registered through money, abundance. You know what I'm saying? So think about abundance. And it's also influence. So you're looking at a 35/8. You got to work through issues of being emotionally honest, like emotional honesty, manifesting, and also authority is a big one for 35/8s. So 35/8 people got to learn how to take action. You can find yourself being passive aggressive, and either you could be always in a position where you make pretty, okay money or whatever, considering those around you, considering your family members, and people might use you for money. Or you could be having financial issues where you having an issue with your flow of money. So it can go either way. But like I say, it go back to money, because when you're talking about that 8 is about what you get, what you give. What goes out is what's going to come back in. If you turn an 8 to the side, it's an infinity symbol. So if we talking about abundance never runs out, right? We talking about infinite never runs out. So in that sense, being abundant, 35/8 people naturally too are the big givers. Y'all really give a lot. Y'all really philanthropists. And as long as you're doing something for the sake of something that's bigger than you gonna get the money anyway. Let me give you an example. One of my favorite 35/8s is 50 Cent, because you can look at him, and you can publicly look at his choices and his actions and things, and you can see the energy. So if you're looking at him as a 35/8, we know you look at the big thing he did with the water. 50 Cent had a big thing that he did in Africa with water. He went on, he sold his vitamin water. He made a lot of money from his vitamin water. So the 50, a lot, when he made his most money, it had to do with that particular type of deal, with him doing something that was for good. At the same time, you can see how too he used his power and his influence and his abundance, and he just be who he is, and he don't play about who he is, and he invert his energy. You know, like, he not finna let you bully him. He not gonna let nobody play with him. That's why he got the 50th laws of power. So the 50 laws of power, 50 himself is a 35-8. It's an energy based all off of power. So wealth, power, respect, that's what pretty much preoccupied 35-8. You know what I'm saying? That's the energy. It's like if a 35-8 had a gift at something or was a genius at something, their genius is a CEO. Their genius is a CEO. But it's good for 35-8s to operate on the law of higher will. You know what I'm saying? The law of higher will is serving, like I said, serving a higher purpose. It'll empower you to inspire other people, because you got the gift of inspiration in the 3. You got the gift of inspiration in the 3, but you gotta make sure that you being honest about what you're doing. You just gotta be honest about what you're doing, because that same type of energy could flip and be the type of energy that will fuck somebody over, that will do bad business for the sake of being greedy. You know what I'm saying? We all recognize that CEO that's that don't care about anybody but their bottom line. You feel me? That's the other opposite extreme of that particular energy. You know what I'm saying? Let's see. So, alright, so I got 2/7/1958. 2/7/1958. OJ, you know how to read your own energy. You up here putting your birthday. You could come help me do these readings. Oh, you need to join me on here. Selena, you have 2/7/1958. So 2/7 is 9. Let me see, that's 19 plus 5, 24. So you're a 32/5. Okay. So with a 32/5 energy, you looking for freedom. You might really like to travel, or might really want to travel. 32/5s, like, you gotta work through issues related to independence, that emotional honesty that comes with the 5, and the cooperation. So it's about experiencing freedom through discipline. You gotta learn discipline in order to get that freedom it is that you're really looking for. You gotta confront internal challenges and conflicts that have to do with being between dependence and independence. You know what I'm saying? It's like you got to learn how to be honest about expressing your emotions. 5s have to be honest in it. They have to learn to honestly express their emotions. You know what I'm saying? Because 5 is a very big heart, love, emotion number, but it can hide. It can really hide in that 5. Let me see, 32/5. Who's the 32/5? Who was the identified 32/5 when I say discipline? Okay, look at Floyd Mayweather is a 32/5. Right? Now, Floyd Mayweather, regardless how you feel about him, is very disciplined in his craft. And due to his discipline, he has been able to excel and do exceptionally well, and provided himself with a life of independence and freedom, because of the discipline that he established in his career. You get what I'm saying? And probably in a lot of other aspects of his life. I don't know. We just using it as an example. You know what I'm saying? Also, take for example, you got a Gucci Man is a 32/5. Also, Malcolm X is a 32/5. Now, the similarities in these two individuals, both of them had to go to jail, or had to be, kind of put in a position where their freedom was taken away in order to establish discipline. Because 5, you have 5 senses. So 5s can indulge. A 5 energy can always do too damn much. You can always just go too far, go too hard. You ever seen that person that drink but they don't know how to stop? That can be that 5 energy. It can just not know how to stop and just overdo and just completely indulge. Especially if you got a 2, because you learning how to balance. So you have to recognize that you have this ability because you got 5 senses. So in a sense of 5 senses, what tastes good, what feel good, what smell good, those type of things you can indulge. All right. So in saying that you can indulge, you can do way too much. So you got to learn how to get balanced. You have to learn how to be balanced. You see what I'm saying? That's why I gave the example, Malcolm X, Gucci Man. See what I'm saying? Malcolm X, before, if you look at him as Detroit Red, then you look at him as Malcolm X. You look at how he was when he obtained a system of discipline. It afforded him the freedoms that he later on, received because of his discipline of being, doing what he was. You know what I'm saying? So there's something about 32 fives, you know what I'm saying? And also 32 fives, be careful about being codependent. Y'all can find yourselves being dependent on other people way too much, you know what I'm saying? And it could be a major setback for you. You know what I'm saying? Because a dependent relationship, and it could be even deeper if it's rooted in insecurity. You know what I'm saying? Because that could go back to independence and dependence. And do you feel capable enough to be able to be independent and to stand on your own? That could be bringing a sense of self-doubt. That's why discipline comes into play and why there's a system of discipline. Okay. 53178. I got you, Abdullah. I ain't trying to skip over nobody. 53178. So 53819 plus the 1 and 9, that's 19. Plus 7 is 26. Plus 8 is 35. Yeah, 35 8 too. So that's in a sense, that 35 8. Study the 48 laws of power. Yeah? If you got a 35 8, study the 48 laws of power, and move accordingly. You know what I'm saying? And that pretty much or let me see. Let me do that again. 5 3 1 1 9. Is that 34? Actually, a 34-7. Okay, so 34-7, which I spoke on briefly before. That's trust issues. So with that 34-7, man, a lot of it is about you learning how to trust yourself, working through issues of trust, patience, emotional, learning how to express yourself emotionally, having faith in your spiritual process, understanding or seeing or realizing how spirit operate through your life. You might struggle with spirituality. People with 7 sometimes can struggle with their spirituality, you know what I'm saying, and what they believe. So that's the thing with the 7. And with that down to earth 4, people with 34-7, that's why I say you can find yourself bouncing between being what you have to do day to day versus your spiritual goals and what it is you really want to do. You know what I'm saying? So that can be a big thing with a 34-7. So yeah, it's like it's like you blending opposites. It's like you trying to harmonize your practical and your mysticism, your higher and your lower. So it can feel like, y'all like alchemists. Y'all are like the real world, inner world alchemists, because y'all are constantly having to blend it. So that's why you find a lot of 34-7 people doing spiritual work in a business. You know what I'm saying? Having a business that's centered around their spirituality so they can accommodate both sides. So they can spiritually appease themselves all the while still taking care of their security, their stability. Because it's still a strong practical part about you, That's what that 4 is, that practical part. But, I just briefly, wanted to kind of do this. Let me see. I'm gonna do this 201-1993. Soul Child 93. 201 3 10. That's 13 plus 9 is 22 plus 22 plus 3. You're 25-7. So yeah, with that 25-7, you also dealing with trust issues, but yours, you can have a little bit more paranoia. Like I said before, you can have a little bit more paranoia. But what I noticed about 25-7 people too, and I don't think I said this before, y'all got a strong sense of a psychic nature too. Y'all have a strong sense of clarity about you too. Y'all very angelic people, man. Y'all have a very light spirit, but y'all get done wrong and it can kind of really settle into y'all energy. It can really settle into y'all energy and y'all can carry it with y'all and just constantly feel like that betrayal is gonna happen again. You know what I'm saying? And that bring that paranoia. It can inflict y'all. It can afflict your body. So that's the thing in the sense of that healing in that sense. So, and at the same time, with you not being as trusting as you are in your relationships, they can suffer because you cannot really trust enough to want to share what you really feel inside. So it can cause problems in places or spaces at times when you're supposed to be more intimate. And instead of being more intimate, you might isolate yourself. And that can make that person feel like they can't trust you in return because you feel like you can't trust them, so you're a withholding part of yourself, and they can feel that even if it's not something that you are withholding that you are doing, it is a part of you that you are withholding that they can still feel, and it translate into I can't trust this person. Like we don't always understand why we feel what we feel because we're constantly receiving data from different places. You receiving psychic data too. You receiving emotional data. You receiving a lot of information. So you are able to interpret based on this information that you get. And because you naturally already don't trust, when you receive that information, it just make you want to isolate more. And in turns, that other person is going to feel that absence of that energy too. So in that sense, anybody in their mind, it can feel like maybe there's another person there. Maybe this person just ain't really feeling me like that. Even you might have been, but they wouldn't be able to know. So, all right, I'm going to do the last one. This is my last one. 4/8/1993. Chill too icy. Okay, 4/8/1993. 4 and 8 is 12. 22 and 9 is 31. 31 and 3. You were 34-7 too. I kind of did that one already. So with the 34-7, you got to work on your trust issues. So you got to work on them trust issues. You got to be willing to be open. Because if you're not going to be open, don't expect nobody else to be open. Don't expect nobody to give more than you going to give. If you're not going to share yourself and you're not going to be open enough, then don't expect that person to be open either. See, y'all got lessons in vulnerability. Y'all don't like being vulnerable because the one time y'all was vulnerable, somebody hurt y'all feelings and y'all don't ever want to experience that shit no more. So you refrain from making yourself vulnerable again. But when you feel safe enough to be vulnerable, it's very, very empowering. You feel what I'm saying? Like if you can be vulnerable, if you can allow yourself that to feel safe enough to do it, but that safety, that security comes from in yourself. You know what I'm saying? If you can feel comfortable enough to do it without being ashamed of it or whatever the case may be, then you're going to be able to elevate yourself to a whole nother level. But the problem can be too, you got to make better choices. You got to make the right choices in who you choose to share with. Because see, what might have happened is you might have shared some shit with somebody you shouldn't have shared it with. You might shouldn't have shared it with that person. And you probably knew you shouldn't have shared it with that person. And you shared it with the wrong person and it wasn't safe. You know what I'm saying? And they might have rejected what you shared, or, they might have made you feel away because of what you shared. And but you got to understand that rejection that they had, this is where reframing comes in. This is why you got to do your work and understanding and looking into human nature. That rejection, the rejection is not a rejection of you. You understand? But it's their rejection of the piece of them or the part of them that resonates with the universal truth of what you sharing with them. They might not be ready enough to accept that in themselves, so they have to reject it from you. You understand what I'm saying? So you can't hold on to no shame, because shame gets stuck in your body. Shame keeps you stuck. And you're not able to move forward. So you got to let that burden down. That shit causes internal damage to your body and to your spirit. You got to heal from that. You got to heal from that. So that you can get comfortable enough to speak your truth. But y'all know, look, it's way better for me to do these readings with y'all one-on-one. Because we can talk about a lot more than, all I could do is give you an overview like this in general. But it's best if we do a one-on-one just talking about this energy, because if you can have a system of understanding yourself and understanding your energy, then you can have a starting point to where to start your healing. It don't have to be numerology. It could be astrology. It might be tarot. You might do tarot cards. You might do human design. It don't matter. You need a system of understanding energy or the archetypes of energy so that you can get how energy works. So that you can see how this energy working in your life. You see what I'm saying? That's the most powerful thing that you could ever do, is figure out or understand how this energy working in your life. You get what I'm saying? Because that's way more powerful. You feel me? It's way more powerful because you able, in that sense, you can understand what you yourself is trying to say to you, what's relaying to you. And you won't always need to go to somebody else. Now, there's times we need perspectives from other people. It's like having a rearview mirror, because we can't always see our blind spots. That's very true. It's nothing wrong with us assisting each other along our journey, but you got to understand that your work is daily and you do your work every day of your life. So you have to have a system, a means of working through all of that so that you can more and more come into your divinity, because your knowledge, your light is all you have. That's all that's going to go with you is your knowledge. That's why everything else is illusion. That's how you can tell what's illusion. What can you take with you? You can't take this shit with you, but you can take your knowledge with you. Your light go with you. When you chosen in one life, you chosen in every life. You understand? You chosen in every life. It's like on Infinite. They had to go through the systems of remembering. So now, recalling that movie, he was old. Bro was 20 something, 30 years old. He still hadn't remembered. He had went through so much trauma that his potential was doused out. He was unable to know. He couldn't remember anything. That's you. That's you. That is you in the movie. You get what I'm saying? But I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up, y'all. I've been on for a little minute. I think I'm breaking up. It looks like I lagged out a little bit. Okay, I think I'm back. But yeah, I'm about to go ahead and wrap this live up. I want y'all to check out some of the stuff I got on the YouTube. If you want a Patreon, please, if you want a Patreon, everything pertaining to shadow work and numerology is on that Patreon. Right? Everything pertaining to shadow work and astrology is on that Patreon. So if you really want to dig deeper into this stuff and how to apply it for yourself, if you want to know for you, if you want the resources and stuff that I got, that I gave out for the course, is on the Patreon. So you can go at your own pace and go look at them videos on the Patreon and check this stuff out on the Patreon. But if you really want to get more into how to approach this from an individualized perspective, like a actual path that you can take for you, we can do a one-on-one. That's what my one-on-ones are for. They are for shadow work, individualization. So what's going to be right for you? Because everybody has different ways of approaching things. People got different cultural traditions. People got different, ways and things that accommodates them. So it's important that you do what's best for you. But I appreciate y'all so much. Oh, Miss MC3, I appreciate you. Thank you for sharing that. I appreciate that. But I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up, y'all. It was my pleasure speaking on with y'all. I do apologize. I can't do everybody because it's so many birthdays on here. It's a lot of birthdays, but I try to get a few in every here and there, you know what I'm saying? But my bad if I missed you. It wasn't intentional. It wasn't intentional. So until next time though, I'm gonna holler at y'all. Peace.